Thanks very much for staying with us. Time now for Africa News with me, Georgia Calvin-Smith. Tonight, as thousands of veterans of the Second World War celebrate the 70th anniversary of the D-Day landings in Normandy, we hear from the last surviving Togolese soldier who fought for France against the Nazis. 1 million African troops battled in the conflict. Also, we speak to our correspondent in Ghana as the International Maritime Bureau launches a hunt for a Liberia-flagged Greek tanker. It fears may have fallen prey to pirates, the notorious hijacking hotspot in the Gulf of Guinea. And we turn the spotlight onto the massive Nigerian film industry as a film festival celebrating all things Nollywood rolls out the red carpet here in Paris. We speak to the star of up to 100 films, Rita Dominic, about the thrills and challenges of working in African show business. But first, as world leaders met today in Normandy, France, to mark the 70th anniversary of one of the key missions that led to the end of World War II, some African authorities have criticised the fact that no governments from their continent were invited to the D-Day commemorations. Over 1 million African troops fought in the deserts of North Africa, the jungles of Burma, the skies above Germany and here in France. Many amongst the shrinking band of veterans resent being written out of history. Well, our correspondent went to meet the last surviving Togolese soldier of the conflict.
Historian Jaja Simtaro is meeting a living legend. Louis Koku Sagbo is Togo's last surviving World War II veteran. Sagbo was 20 years old when he left his family and set off for the battlefields of France.
We landed in Toulon. It was really tough.
In August 1944, Sagbo fought in the fierce battles to liberate the city of Toulon on the French Mediterranean coast. Merely getting there was hard enough, the soldier setting out from the Nigerian port city Lagos before a long sea voyage to France.
We spent a month and a half at sea. For a whole month, we didn't see land.
A German colony at the beginning of the 20th century, 2/3 of Togo's territory passed into French hands after the First World War. France then called up thousands of young people to fight with their allies on the Western Front.
France employed a policy of cultural assimilation. The result was that these young men who were recruited as French soldiers, they went on to really fall in love with France.
Now 91 years of age, Sagbo is as proud as ever to have fought for France. His only regret, the lack of French recognition for his service. The soldier had to wait until 2004, 60 years after enlisting to fight, before receiving his veteran's pension.
Nigeria's film industry is booming. The industry known as Nollywood provides about 1 million jobs and is the country's second biggest employer after agriculture. Now, it's churned out productions at a phenomenal rate and has to satisfy demand both at home and abroad. Well, Nicolas Germain went to a film festival here in Paris that celebrates the stars of Nigeria's silver screen.
We are here in the heart of Paris at the Cinéma L'Arlequin for the Nollywood Week Film Festival. It's only the second edition of this festival, and the aim, of course, is for French people to discover the Nigerian film industry. It's the second biggest film industry in the world, after Bollywood in India and just ahead of Hollywood in the US. Here's a poster for the film Flower Girl, which was the biggest box office hit in Nigeria last year. And now I'm with the director of this film, Michelle Bello. Hello, Michelle.
Hi, how are you?
Michelle, what are the main challenges for a Nigerian director?
We have lots of challenges. I mean, one is definitely funding. It's really hard to get funding. But there are some grants that have been opening up in Nigeria, and the Nigerian government is slowly starting to support more of us filmmakers because we've got such a wide audience worldwide and they want to watch our movies. So, you know, funding is always an issue. Also, without light, we don't have proper electricity in our country, so that's always an issue. So we have to hire generators, and which is an added cost. So those are just a few of the challenges we go through. We're all very excited as filmmakers and actors to come here and be part of Nollywood Week Paris, to engage in the audience, in the European audience, especially in France. And so we're very excited to showcase our work, and we just hope people really love our movies.
This Nigerian Film Festival here in Paris ends this Sunday, and it's also a way of showing everyone that Nigeria isn't only about Boko Haram and its killings in the northeast, it's also a country of 180 million inhabitants, it's the continent's first GDP, and of course it has this great film industry which distributes films across the continent and beyond.
That was Nicolas Germain there for us, and you may have caught a glimpse of our guest at the end of his report there, Rita Dominic, who's joined us now after jetting in from Nigeria, especially for that film festival. Thanks very much for joining us, Rita.
Thanks for inviting me.
Well, now, you've been in the game for a long time. You've been an actress in Nollywood since you were a kid. You must have seen a lot of changes in the industry over that time.
Yes, well, I've been in Nollywood, or let me say acting professionally, since '98. But I've really always acted all my life since I was a kid. And yes, I've seen a lot of changes. I mean, we have cinemas now. We didn't have that when I first got into the industry, you know. So, and the cinema emergence has forced filmmakers to improve the quality of their films, because only certain kinds of films can be shown in the cinema, you know. So it's a good time for African cinema. I just don't like to say Nollywood, you know. So it's a great time for us, and I've seen changes, and more people are beginning to understand and believe in the industry, and believe how much this industry can generate a lot of revenue for the government, for the country, if it's properly structured. So.
But the industry itself actually, as we heard in that last report, come into a few problems in terms of finding the funding to deliver the demand for the work.
Yes, initially yes, that's the truth. Because if you look at it, most investors, I mean, these are business people. They want to see transparent. They want to know how they're going to make their money back. And for a long time, we struggled with distribution. So a businessman doesn't want to invest in a project if he's not sure how he's going to make his money back. For instance, my film, The Meeting, which I co-produced with my business partner, she also directed it, Mildred Okwo, it was difficult for us to get funding. First of all, it was my first project. We didn't really have anything to prove that we could do this, you know, and you're already talking to people who are sensitive or who are not sure they want to invest their funds in an industry.
So you really have to have faith in yourself.
Yes. So I had to have, you have to have faith in yourself, you know. So basically, we had to go back to the drawing board, and we had to find ways to save up and shoot the film ourselves and fund.
So when you go to all this effort to make sure something hits the screen, it must be a real blow when you consider just the massive scale of piracy that you face.
Yes. But you see, the thing is, with cinema now, it's a little okay, you know, because you can't pirate films when they're in the cinema, you know. So first of all, what you do is you try and make a good film that will get people out there, that will get people to go and watch a film in the cinema. So you make a lot of money from the cinema. Like, for instance, what we did with The Meeting is we got our DVDs made in New York. So it's a bit difficult for the pirators to pirate the film, because we have different codes on the DVD or CD, how do you say it? Yeah. So it's a bit difficult to break those codes, because we produced our DVDs in America. Yeah, so, yeah.
Well, thank you very much for coming in to see us, Rita Dominic. We wish you the very best of luck on all your future projects.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, a look back at some other stories making the headlines across Africa. The search is on for a Greek tanker that's believed to have been hijacked off the coast of Ghana. 24 crew were aboard the Liberia-flagged MT Fair Artemis when it dropped off the radar earlier this week. We're here now from our Katerina Vitozzi, who brings us the latest. Katerina, now the Gulf of Guinea is notorious for pirates, but there's still nothing concrete to say the ships have definitely fallen into their hands for sure, is there?
Yes, but Georgia, I think, as you say, nothing definite to say that it has fallen into hijackers' hands, but that is looking like one of the most likely options at the moment. The Fair Artemis, as you say, dropped off the radar really on Wednesday. That was the last time contact was made between the ship and its owners on shore. Now, the oil tanker, because that's what it was carrying gas oil, left Senegal with its destination of Lomé. That's in neighbouring Togo, neighbouring here to Ghana. And that is where it dropped off the radar, just 50 nautical miles off the coast of Accra here in Ghana, by which point, by now, that's about a 48-hour gap. It really should have arrived at its destination in Togo. So no hijacking not confirmed, but according to the International Maritime Bureau, that is looking like the most likely option.
Now, Katerina, have authorities in Ghana had much luck in tackling the risks of hijackings in the waters around it?
Well, they've had better luck than perhaps some of their neighbouring countries. Ghana's seen some of the fewest incidences of hijackings and piracy attempts that have indeed been reported, because, of course, it's important to remember lots of instances of hijackings aren't reported by ships companies in order to keep their insurance premiums down. However, Ghana has seen some more success than countries like Togo and Nigeria, and that has mainly been down to accurate and clear policing of its territorial waters. But the tricky thing about the Gulf of Guinea is that each country around the coast of West Africa does have their specific economic zones that they're allowed to police. Outside of those are international waters, which is essentially an unpatrolled zone, and that is really where hijacking and piracy is at its most rampant.
Thanks very much. Katerina Vitozzi there for us in Ghana. Well, that's where we're going to have to leave African news for now, but I will be back with more in 45 minutes. Join us then if you can. Take care.